different do you feel compared to the spring? Or you talked to him about still trying to figure everything out in this offense? Just how much more comfortable and confident do you feel from?
Yeah, I think during the spring put a lot of extra effort in the summer with our tight end assistant, Coach Weeks. I mean, that's like a testament to him. Me and him got together after every workout and stuff and went through all the plays, got used to the tempo. So I feel a tons more confident. Like I can play more fast and free, and I think it shows up on the practice field now. I'm not trying to figure out what I'm doing for. I'm already set and ready to go. I'm just execute better.
Rob?
McCallan, when you talk about, learning this offense and all that, how much is it complicated by the pace that you play at?
Honestly, the offense itself, once you get it down, is not super hard to do, but it's that pace that you have to be able to look at the sideline and know what you have to do right then and there. And once it clicks, it's definitely a lot easier. Like you see Jacob, who's been doing it for years, he's like locked in, ready to go. Where you see like the young guys, they're kind of still thinking about it. But like Keyton, you can tell. I think you need to have like almost the same position where it's like we've kind of gone through that awkward phase where you're trying to figure out what you got to do. But now he's lined up and he's ready to go. Not lined up, and you can tell on the practice field we play a lot faster and more free. Have been more efficient in the plays.
Adam?
How familiar were you with what Princeton Fant did last year, and do you see yourself having to fit in that role, or is that just sort of a starting point?
Yeah, I'm familiar with what Princeton did. He's obviously super versatile. I think I can be versatile in my own way. Definitely not similar to Princeton. He's a different athlete compared to me, but I'm just kind of here to do whatever they need me to do, whether it's play, obviously split reps and tight end, which is what I want to do, but if I had to play punch shield or play field goal, like I just want to do whatever's going to make the team win.
Vince?
Give us a breakdown as a teammate, someone else is learning on the fly early on with Ethan Davis and what you see in his potential.
Yeah, obviously he's a dude who hasn't played a whole lot of tight end and in the dirt, so the blocking concepts and stuff has been his struggle to learn, but he's been putting in extra work and you can tell he's gotten a lot better. And he's way more willing to ask questions since when he first got here. You're always intimidated when you come in as a freshman, and now it's like he's ready to ask questions. He's always asking me and Jacob what to do, and now he kind of understands it, and he's kind of bringing Manuel along a little bit with it too.
Reese in the back.
Coach England always says that Jacob Warren is kind of like a second coach to the tight ends room. How much have you seen him kind of embrace coaching you guys as well?
Oh yeah, Jacob is he's so dialed in. It's after every rack, you'll see Jacob, if he's not in, he's running up and he's like, what'd you see here, what'd you do here? And he'll correct the looks, and he also looks for that coaching feedback from other guys, but like when he's so dialed in, and so it's like having three coaches on the field, because we have A's and then we have Weeks and Jacob, and it's just, you get three eyes on every play. So when we break down film, it's like he'll show his option, and A's will get another option, and it's just like, it's like basically having three coaches all the time.
Vince again.
Obviously, great offense that you're coming into this year and looking for that standard again. But what excites you about this year's group and this year's offense that you'll be a part of?
I think it's just everybody's ready to reload. We've got guys at every position coming in that can play, and you can just see it on the practice field. Every day we're getting better and more explosive against our own defense, and once we get against against like Virginia or somebody, it's going to come to fruition, and I think we're just going to keep going 1 week at a time and just steamrolling through.
Casey?
What's it like to come into a program as a new guy, but on the flip side, be a guy that the younger players are still looking at as a veteran in terms of your experience?
Obviously in the spring, I was trying to learn, and Ethan's asking me questions, and I go, oh man, I don't know. And then now that I'm more situated, I definitely try to bring him along. Obviously, I'm still learning a lot of the offense, so I have to kind of ease off on the coaching aspect, but I try to bring him along on the basic stuff that he can work on, just like footwork and stuff that I've been doing for 6 years now. So it's like, I can always help him on the basics, and then the big picture, it's always nice. I can always have Jacob come over and teach him up with him.
Yeah.
McCallan, I guess how excited are you to get into Neyland Stadium tomorrow and scrimmage and just for the tight end room, what do you think objective number one is tomorrow in terms of accomplishing?
Yeah, obviously I'm super excited to go and play Neyland every time. Biggest stadium I've ever played in my life. But I think as a group, our goal is to have no MAs and execute at a high level. And then a step further than that is just finishing out plays, staying connected all the way through past the whistle, and just make plays when they come our way. Because obviously at a tight end, you're not going to be the number one option all the time, but when you get the ball, you're expected to catch it.
We'll take a few more. We'll go to Reese. Patrick, and finish with Vince.
South Doyle head coach Paul Shelton speaks highly of you. How much do you guys still keep in contact, and what are the conversations like?
Oh, I still probably text him every other day. He was basically like the secondary dad out here for me when I first got here, and you know he's seen me completely develop when I first started playing for him at Davis to now is night and day difference, and I like tone a lot of my attitude to him, and he's like a great dude, good transition guy, and he's always asking me about questions of offense though, and I can't tell him anything. So.
Patrick?
Yeah, I think Coach Holiday said you put on 15 pounds. Was that between spring and the summer? Were you expecting to have to get a little bit bigger? Was that by design? Kind of how did that process go?
Yeah, they asked me to put on a little bit more weight. Obviously, when I first got here, I was coming off an injury, so I hadn't really been. I was like 235. Got a little bit up before spring started. You know, if you're in the SEC, it's probably better to be a little bit heavier to block guys that are pretty big and athletic. And I think that's just the support staff here is like. The nutrition's crazy. At Davis, I didn't get meals here, so I get 3 meals a day, so it was no problem to put on the weight. And it's the way our strength and conditioning guys are. I put it on comfortably and kept my speed, so it's super nice.
Vince, we'll finish with you.
I realize when you guys scrimmage, you'll learn more, but are there any defensive players that you've gone up against in team setting that maybe have impressed you or stood out so far?
Oh man, I got a shout out Aaron Carter, man. That dude fills holes fast, and he is gonna lace you in the hole. I've never seen a dude come in so ready to play from a young guy's standpoint. And then the other guys, I mean, Aaron Beasley and Keenan Peely, that's like as veteran as you can get at linebacker. They don't do anything wrong. They're always there to make plays. Super solid. And then Tank and Jalen McCall, but he's just like, he is so solid. Special teams and everything he does, super sound technique, and he's always like high energy, ready to coach everybody up.
Coach Hockman's been here 2 years, and we've seen receivers do huge things in those 2 years. Was that a big reason you wanted to come to Tennessee, and what about this offense is so receiver friendly?
I definitely say that's a big reason for why I came here. And I say the biggest part about this offense being receiver friendly is the fact that Coach Hyper wants to throw the ball. Like if you look back and see, he threw the ball most of the time throughout his first 2 years. That's the most any head coach or offensive minded coach threw the ball in at least in 2 seasons. So you can see if you're a receiver, it'd be the best place for you to be.
Patrick?
Dante, when you were looking at Tennessee, was Jalen Hyatt part of the pitch that they gave you, and how much did that, the way they used him and the way he played last season, that?
Oh, I'd say that it was a part because you see like how he performed in the offense, and with me coming in, they looked at me as the person to come in and be in that same role, so that had a big part in me coming in.
Reese?
Kelsey Pope is known for building tight-knit relationships with his players. Obviously, it's been a little bit of time that you've been here. What is your relationship like with Coach Pope?
I say I have a great relationship with Coach Pope. He's like that dad like with me being away from home, he's like that dad that you have that can coach you on the field and then also be there for you off the field. So I definitely depend on Coach Pope a lot. He's definitely always there for me.
How have you built a relationship with Joe Milton? Is that something that comes pretty naturally, and like off-season work? How have you built that relationship?
I said me and Joe have a great relationship. Like from the moment I got here, me and Joe been clicking and getting together. Like even on nights where it might be a time where I feel like I don't understand the play, I could call Joe or go over to his house and he'll walk me through it, and then we'll be good like that. So I definitely say we have a great relationship.
We'll go Vince and then Caleb.
2 things I'll ask them separately. What's the play that you feel the best about, most impressive play you made in camp so far?
I would say I had a deep ball like I think 2 practices ago. I think that's one of my most impressive ones for myself personally. That's something I've been working on a lot.
And then talk about how much you're splitting time between the slot and outside receiver and that kind of adjustment and going one with the other.
Okay, yeah, I'd say that I'm definitely learning. Right now I'm playing more so in the slot, but I'm definitely learning both. But when the opportunity comes for me to go in outside receiver, I really know both. But right now I'm more so in the slot.
Caleb?
You've gotten the chance to work with Squirrel White in the slot. What have you learned from him and kind of his personality since arriving here?
I'd say Squirrel, that's one of my closest teammates here. Like from the moment I got here, I always leaned on Squirrel because he played a position before I got here, so he knew exactly what to do. So I'd say that Squirrel played a big part in me, like in my learning process and how it was sped up, because he helped me through everything.
We'll go Ben, then Casey, and then Patrick, and then Eric.
Dante, I'm curious because it's been such a lot of conversation this offseason around Tennessee's offense. Did other schools try to downplay Tennessee's ability to develop receivers when they were recruiting you?
Oh yeah, I definitely say teams did try to downplay it, saying like it don't translate to the NFL style. But if you can get over, you can do that on in the college level and the NFL level. That's all it's about.
I guess on the flip side of that, seeing Cedric Tillman and Jalen Hyatt in training camp and now yourself working with Coach Pope and Coach Heupel, I guess what are your thoughts on other teams trying to downplay Tennessee's ability to develop offensive players?
I feel like regardless, people are gonna say whatever they wanna say, but if you can't go out there and stop anyone, it works, then why stop it?
Casey?
If you could put the atmosphere of the wide receiving room into words, how would you phrase it, and how does your value of family fit into that?
I say that the receiver room, we were very tight. Like we all have a bunch of group chats where though even off the field we meet up a lot. We might just go get food and hang out stuff like that. But we have a great relationship. Like the receiver room, we are a tight knit brotherhood that we have in there. With Coach Pope and Coach Cook, they have everything set for us. Like we always do everything together. So I definitely say we have a great like bond in there.
Patrick and then Eric.
Dante, everyone talks about your speed. What's the fastest mile per hour you hit on the trackers this offseason?
Last season, this off season.
Or last season?
Yeah, I would say during last season, they said the fastest that I ran was 24.3 miles per hour in a game, and I was chasing down the block. So yeah.
What's the fastest you hit here?
Don't remember.
Eric.
Dante, it feels like in the receiver room, at least you four up front, you guys all kind of bring something different to the table, do things, each have different strengths. Do you see it that way, and what do you think about this room stacked up against some other rooms around the conference in the country in terms of being good?
I definitely feel like we have a great receiver room. In my opinion, we have the best receiver room in the nation, and my reason behind that is because even if we have a group of people that's going to be starting, our first, second, and third group can go in there and there won't be any drop off. Like each receiver in that room knows exactly what to do, so there's no, like, if anybody's on the field, we know we can depend on them. So we are good.
Ryan.
Dante, you've always been a talented guy, I guess. What is it that makes you confident this year is going to be kind of your breakout year? Is it just kind of simple as you having the opportunity in this offense, or how much better do you feel across the board about just what you can do this year?
I feel a lot better, I'd say, from like my past 2 years. Over my past 2 years, I was gaining a lot of confidence in myself in my game. And now with me having the coaching staff that I feel really believe in me, that I'm actually great and can do it, that motivates me more to work even harder. So I feel like this is definitely the year for me.
We'll take one or two more. Vince.
Coach Halsey was talking about how you came in here and you wanted to know the why, and you put in the work. You didn't just come in here just trying to get by to do things. Where did that come from? How did that sort of develop for you to be able to apply that here?
So like I said with the last question, my freshman year, it was COVID year, and I played behind a bunch of dudes, and I struggled with the playbook. So I told myself, in order for me to get on the field my next year, I need to know everything in the playbook. So I kept that mindset my second year and the same with this year.
Ramel Keyton, please raise your hand and we'll get you a mic. No, we'll start with you.
Ramel, what's kind of the progression been like for you since stepping in for Cedric last season, and just kind of where you've grown in the last year?
Basically just being more consistent with my craft and my work ethic, basically being a leader to the younger people, making sure that they doing what they need to do, stepping up to the standard that we set.
Ramel, what does your work ethic look like kind of post-practice and over the course of the week? Like how many footballs are you catching on the jugs machine, and are you willing to say who led the receiver room and balls caught on the jugs machine or something?
Yeah, so over the summer, like I think it was June, July, we had a catch chart, and actually Nate led the whole catch chart. I think the goal we said was 20,000. I think he had like 22,000, something like that. So we actually went above the goal. But for me, I was trying to catch different type of balls, but I still didn't meet the standard that we set. So that's something I got to fix that. But after practice, we usually try to catch deep balls, either 30 on each side, or if it's just straight up profile catches, you try to probably get 50 on each side, 50 each side. So it's not a lot of work, but it's still getting good work. So you seeing the ball to the touch, you see feeling it, touch our hand and stuff like that. So.
Vince.
Joe Milton shared with us that on that trip to New York, he had never seen you talk so much, and your personality showed and you opened up. Why did that trip connect with you to where you were able to show that personality?
I don't know why it was that trip, but I don't know, we just had fun. It wasn't nothing football specific, we were just out there bonding. So I don't know, it was a different vibe too. It was in New York, so I guess that's probably another factor.
Adam.
How is the ball different coming out of Endon's hand and Joe's hand? How do you track those balls differently?
You gotta like really be sharp with your eyes, and you gotta know it's gonna come with a little more pace with Joe. It's gonna be more like zip to it. So it's more. I mean, you're gonna see the ball, but it's more like having stronger hands to catch it really. But once you catch it consistently, it'll become natural. So.
Patrick, and then we'll go to Reese and Karthik and back.
Ramel, did you say that was Nathan Leacock that caught 22,000?
Yeah, I think that was the.
You got two Nates in the receiver, and I was double checking. Just for you, how can you describe sort of the work ethic in that room? It sort of seems like it's been fostered from Bayless and Cedric and Jalen over the past couple of years. Did you feel like you had to sort of take the mail and carry that on with those guys all in the NFL now?
I feel like as a group, we all have the work ethic that it takes to succeed, and we push each other to that to the standard that we set. So it's like organic, like the whole room. It's not just one person, not just me, it's not just group, not just Nate, it's not just Jeff. Like everybody is striving, everybody's trying to be better, everybody's trying to be great. So I feel like as a room, like we keep pushing each other, we're gonna be great. So yeah.
The coaching staff preaches that you're one of the big leaders in the room. At what point did you see yourself being comfortable being that leader?
I'll say like some point during the summer. Yeah, some point during the summer. I'm still kind of trying to work on it, but not trying to be like buddy with them, but more like you got to get this done, and that's something I'm trying to work on. Cause like we all cool with each other, like we can laugh and stuff like that, but when it's time to get serious, we got to lock in. So that's one thing I'm trying to work on.
Karthik.
No, you said you didn't meet the standard in the past summer workouts. Why did you feel that way? What was the moment that you kind of realized it? And how do you ensure moving forward that you're always meeting the standard that you want to meet?
Oh yeah, just like being more consistent. It was some days where, I was probably tired and I was like, all right, we just gonna chill today. But it's like those days that really count for real. So I gotta like make up for that. So it'll get fixed.
Casey, and then back to Vince.
Does this season bring a sense of this is your time to go do it, your time to shine it all, and how do you plan to capitalize on that?
I wouldn't say necessarily like just my time. I feel like it's our time to really go out there and prove like what we worked on, what we did all summer, what we did all from January to this point now. I feel like every time we go out to practice, like we feel like we're playing in a game. We're taking an approach like we're playing down, we're playing Georgia, we're playing Florida, like every single practice. So I feel like if we keep doing that consistently, we'll reach the goal that we set.
Vince.
Two things I'll ask them separately. One, why the number change?
I mean, I really didn't like 80. I ain't gonna lie. I know everybody like 80, but I was trying to like change it from freshman year, but they never really let me. And I kind of had to change now, so I changed it.
And then what are Jalen and Cedric saying about early on their time in the NFL so far?
I mean, you said like it was real, like what Pope was saying, like what he tell us, like once you get to the NFL, like it get real, and you gotta play special team, you gotta do all that. What they said is like it's showing the light, like what they saying is gonna come true. So just listen to the coaches.
We'll go Patrick.
Ramel, what were your first impressions of Dante, and how do you think he could help you guys plan between you and Brick?
Oh yeah, like my first impression was I didn't know he was that fast at first. I thought he was kind of a little slow because he got a longer stride, but I mean he doesn't have a long stride, but he has longer legs. But his stride is actually pretty short. It makes him pretty quick, and I feel like he can help us like in the slot because we got like most of our receivers over 6 foot, so when you see like all them receivers like 6 foot ankle run, like it's scary to the defense, and he got hands too, and he can beat you deep, so they gotta stay honest to everybody.
We'll do a few more. Adam, Caleb, and then Wes, and then we'll do a few in the back.
The zip on the ball that you talked about with Joe, does that change anything in the summer, like work on the jugs machine? I don't know if there's like a Joe Milton setting or anything.
Oh yeah. I mean, you definitely gotta turn the jug up at least one notch. So instead of putting on like 4, might put it on 5 instead of putting. Well, it depends on what jug it is. Cause some of the older ones, you gotta probably put on like 6 because they shoot a little slower. But yeah, for the most part, just turn up the speed. Being more consistent with it.
Caleb.
How have you seen Squirrel White's personality come out in the wide receiver room from last year compared to this year?
Yeah, he's become more out of his shell, being more locked in. He's actually coaching like some of the younger people make sure that they get it right. So I feel like he's gonna step into that leadership role. That's good for him.
Wes?
So Ramel, was there a part of you when you got to change to number 9, you finally got to change, you were like, hey, I finally, like, I did enough stuff where they let me change the number now. Is that like unlocking an achievement or something?
No, it was just, I didn't like pick 80 necessarily, they just gave it to me, and I just feel like I picked the number, so I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I mean, I wore 9 when I was younger, QB league, but I didn't like college or nothing like that, or high school. I wore 10 in high school actually. I got that.
We'll finish with Reese and Carter.
Coach Pope says he wants to treat you guys like you're his kids, so what is your relationship like with Coach Pope?
Yeah, he trying to be more, what's the word? I guess, not saying that he's not positive, but he's trying to be more positive, more patient, that's the word, more patient with us. Cause like, he would probably like snap on Nate if it was like last year for something that maybe he did this year, he'd be like, okay, we gotta move at this approach, because you know, he got a son coming, so it's more, he's taking a different approach on how to like get to us, how to teach us, how to make us reach the goals that we want, so that's good.
Last question, Carter.
What's the most impressive thing you've seen Thornton do in a fall camp practice?
Just the other day, he just caught a, what was it, like a 60-yard bomb? Yeah, it was like, and it was actually good for him because he was working on it, he couldn't get it right, and then all of a sudden, in the team segment, he got it right. And, you know, that's just how it worked, like, you know, just keep on.